Yo, hello and welcome to yet another Studio Inside video. We're gonna have a look today at the remix I did for Break. I remixed a song called Another Life of Break's last album. Yeah, he hit me up saying if I would do a remix for him. You know, we did this a couple of years ago where he remixed one of my album songs, Uneasy, and I mixed one of his album songs or single back then. What was it called? I'm gonna put it in here though. It worked quite well, and we did a song in between as well together on my Particles project. Yeah, I mean, I got so much love for Charlie Break. He's such an amazing producer, and like the music and the mix downs he does, it's just so cool. Like, I've been talking to friends recently about it. Like, he's got this really cool hybrid between very precise digital, but also a nice warm analog sound to it. And it's just, yeah, one of my favorite producers in the game, definitely. So when he asked me to do a remix, obviously I was on board. And yeah, we're gonna take a look at his song maybe first, because I also, you know, I want to talk to you guys about how I did the specific remix. But also I want to give you some pointers on how I approach remixes generally, which I think could be quite interesting. So let's dive right in. This is the project file in Cubase, and I always have the original file there loaded as a reference for me to keep my bearings within the song. So the first thing I realized was that song comes in, setting the vibe. But for this first 16 bars, it didn't really do a lot, you know? So I was like, you know what? When I do the remix, I'm gonna start 16 bars in already. So this was in my head, this was my starting point. So what I want to look at is what I added here in the intro. So we saw here in the intro, in the original intro, that it's just a hi-hat, one drone, and a bit of the bass. And I felt like I needed some more sounds in there, a little bit more of a vibe. So I had a little play around with some notes that could work with what we already had here, and decided to add like a nice little kick impact again to give it some weight on the first beat, but also added some like minor chord-ish notes in here. So you see it's like a D sharp and F sharp. And yeah, just introduce some rhythm, but also a little bit of tonality in the intro because I felt like it was missing that. And then different pitches, a little bit of an answer phrase, then playing the sort of the same drone thing that the original had, and then, you know, straight up going to the main riff, which I thought the song was all about. So here in the original, let's compare it always. It was very much just this, I want to call it the Reese bass, this sound, and like one drone in the background. So everything, the whole attention is now on this riff, which is really cool. I think it's very unique. So I felt like, okay, if we're gonna do that, I want to like intensify that moment and have the original sound there, but give it again some more low end. So I recreated the patch that is complementing the original riff into more like a shocking bass moment there. Well, that's that. And it was quite tricky to really sync up the filter and the pitch of this original bass sound with then the more like a Reese low-endy sound that I did. And I think I changed pitch here a little bit. Yeah, you can see I pitched it down by 4 semitones and this by 2 semitones because I think the original had a different melody. So and I went down. So it's a bit of a rewriting, you know, give it your own sort of characteristics, give it your own little twist. And yeah, those two sounds together, I think they were yeah, they come together quite cool. I mean, have a look at the sound. What is it? It's a Reese. It's two oscillators detuned. Probably set to no width, so it's basically mono. This guy here is just FMing the first one, and what we've all learned is with Serum 1, FM here is actually not FM, it's phase modulation and not frequency modulation. But yeah, so this guy's phase modulating the first guy, running into this filter here, you know, a little bit of EQing, and that's that. Just to, yeah, like I said, complement the original riff we have here. So when I had this, I was like, okay, cool. I sort of exaggerated the original part here in a cool way. So that was kind of job done. So then I had a look at the build-up before the drop. And it's a very functional drop, I think, which is cool. You know, building suspense, rising, vocal, stopping, filter, sorry, not filter, drum fill, and then drop. So, like I said at the beginning, I always try to imagine what the original producer or the original song was supposed to do, and trying to overbake that a little bit. Okay, so I knew what the build-up's going to be like, so I added some more risers to that thing. You know, always trying to have them work with the original material, so it's not too alien. So that went nicely, just a couple of serum risers. But also, I wanted to do something I haven't done in a while, and use some samplers, which I don't know why, but I just don't use them anymore. Took the original bass sound, I think it was here. Yeah. I don't even know which note I played there. Yeah, basically looped that one original riff, made a riser out of that, and then I think I did another riser. Yeah, that kind of picks up where the other one's here, yeah. So together it's just, you know. So that was my approach of, like, you know, over exaggerating the build-up, and it kind of works, I think. Drum-wise, I think I did what the original did as well, just have a kick build-up, basically. Yeah, so I even used the original drum fill here as a layer. I paired them up with my kick, gave it some low end, you know. Teased the overhead a little bit. And yeah, the vocal was something as well. I thought, like, could use a bit more time in the song, because this vocal only comes in here, I think, or even later. Yeah, exactly here. And there's two things. One, I felt like the vocal could need more spotlight in the song, but also I wanted it to be way louder. Like, I think the vocal is really cool, and it's sort of is the theme of the song. So I felt like if we do a vocal here, or if I pick up on the vocal, I want to make it super loud to, you know. Activate now. So I just doubled it, distorted it a little bit. Yeah, so what is EQing it? Okay. Actually, here's the magic. Yeah, I just compressed it a little bit. This doesn't do much. Wave shaped it, you know, so I get more of the high harmonics of the vocal. I think this is just a double, which is an octave lower. Yeah. And this is an old trick I took from when I made Manifest. I don't know, many of you remember the song Fractured I did? The build-up that says break it, break it, break it, break it, is me saying the word break it. And I just put it into Serum. There's a spectral analysis where you can bring in any sound and then say analyze it and put it here on your wavetable. And that's what I did. So I took this world thing. Yeah, worlds. And then put a comb filter after it to really, like, emphasize any harmonic that might be in there. So it's quite a lot delay on there as well. So that is slowly building up as well, with the recess and the effects and everything just going up. So there's a pitch modulation, and the pitch modulates also the filter cutoff of the comb filter, so everything moves up the spectrum, which I think is a kind of a nice trick. And then this section here is like the original, you know.
Worlds where you can live out your every fantasy. Activate now.
But you can hear like it's doubled and manipulated in a way that it sounds more like, yeah, it sounds super evil, kind of.
Worlds where you can live out your every fantasy.
So it's pitched around a little bit, moved to the left and right side a little bit, just to have the vocal be way more prominent. Like I said before, like this is cool.
Worlds where you can live out your every.
But here the vocal is more like a sideshow thing, and now the vocal is like the big fuck off thing.
Where you can live out your every fantasy.
I kind of like that.
Activate now.
And one more thing, when we looked at the original before, I always felt like that this build-up is cool and has a little bit of a gap here. And when I first listened to it, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to do like a nice drum fill here. So that was done in Addictive Drums. And yeah, I think that worked quite well. What I always like to do with remixes is always have the initial or the fundamental sound of the original in there. Meaning the kick drum of Break's original is always in there, even though it's just like a tiny hi-hat. And then I paired it up with serum instances of my kick drum. Give it a nice synthetic body. For the snare, it's a similar thing. Here is, you can even see it at the title. I mean, it's already a render, so I think I EQ'd it before, compressed it a little bit, and then rendered that, and then put it into the project again, and pair it up with what I have here, 3 serums for, you know, as always, body, another texture, and then some white noise top end. That's that, and the kit together, I think sounds quite convincing, with some nice updates here and there. Overheads coming in, giving it more drive. Second 16 shaker, picking it up. Breaking down again to have like a third 16 introducing. Here we go. For then, third 16 usually is the same as the first 16, but with a different overhead, I reckon. Yeah, so this guy coming in. Here you go. Again, just a cymbal I made with serum. Pretty simple, but does the job. So yeah, drums are not that special or worth mentioning. I think it's just a functional drum kit. What I really want to focus on this time is looking at the bass riff, how it came together and why it sounds the way it sounds. Right. So for the bass riff with remixes, what I'm always doing is loading the original bass sounds in there, or the original bass riff in there. Okay, I got it here apparently. So I always have this reference in here, so I know. Obviously, this is from the stems. This is not the full song. This is the stems I received from Break. So those sounds are always in there for me to be able to understand what we are doing here. So with remixes, I would sort of chop or cut up the riff into its essential parts. So let's say this is part 1. This is the rhythm part in between. This is the answer bit, and so on. Same thing. Sound on the 1, rhythm in between, answer bit. So what I would do is I would try and recreate the sound on the 1, which I did here. So original sound would be this. Or just here actually. So it's kind of a high-passed Reese filtered thing. And the replacement sounds like this. And you can hear I left the original in there again. For similar reasons, like with the drums, I will just try and keep some sonics in there to have it not be so alien, if you know what I mean. So this is still there, but all the low end has been replaced, and giving it the first sound also some weight rather than being like a texture on top. It also got some balls now, which is kind of okay. So that's like a Reese, I think, pitching up essentially an octave, 2 more layers. yeah, nice subtle bass sound, lay it with that. Compared to original, same but more balls, which is what we're trying to do here. The next thing would be trying to replicate the rhythm section in between, which is a really nice, just straight fourth notes bass sound. Dub, 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 dub. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would try to replicate that, in a way that is a bit more like sounding like me, obviously. I felt like it's cool that it's 4 notes because that's kind of my my territory right there. But I wanted to sound a bit more different, a bit more convoluted, and also have a bit of a pitch variation. So in the beginning, I was just trying to create those sounds as they were. So no pitch. So it would be like this. But then decided also to introduce a little melody. So that's why you see those transposed notes here. So what it does is it goes from D sharp, E, C sharp, D sharp. To give it a melody. So that's like this. Let's play the original again. So, we're still in the same sort of world, universe, kind of, in terms of the syncopation and the pitch and all, but still it's different. Let's look at the riff here. Those guys are layers for later on. The main guys here are those two. So this is the sub, which needs this gate sound. I will explain in a second. Just a sine wave with a certain pitch envelope. Nothing too special. This guy here is actually the guy who delivers the harmonic content of this sound. And it's very simple, just a sine wave, playing the same rhythm, MIDI file, and pitch as the sub does. And the filter is following the note input. This is just a sine wave as is, and this is it a square? No, it's actually a sawtooth where the fundamental is pushed quite a bit. Yeah, like that. So again, this is being FM'd by the second oscillator. This is not routed into the output, so it's just this guy playing here. And I felt like it needed another sign or more signs to really carry the tonality. It's a subtle little layer, but gives it also this tiny bit of phasing within the sound, which is kind of cool. So those guys, this sine wave added with the sub bass is the main sort of story. But then I felt like, okay, it needs more sonics that ties those sounds together, because now they're feeling very much here, but not like together, if you know what I mean. So I did a couple of more layers, which are those guys. They really bring together those two sounds. So let's play them separately for a second here. So this is probably similar sound. It must be a copy from this guy or from this guy, probably from this guy, which is doing the same thing, but just being distorted. So this is creating like a nice little noise layer on top of things. Let's bring it back. So it's like an erosion type effect, I would say, creating some physicality on top of it. Second layer is this guy. It's another low harmonic, because I felt the sub by itself is not cutting it. And it adds a bit of distortion as well, which is kind of cool. This guy here is just a noise, really, and this guy as well, to be fair. Actually, no, this is more like a mid-harmonic. But this guy here is just a noise. And by using a send effect, let me just find the setup here. So this is all routed into this step group bus. And this step group bus, got some wave shaping going on. And this is where this one LFO is connected to that says gate. If we have a look at this guy here again. So this guy is connected with this LFO here. If I don't play it, doesn't play here either, and then the sound doesn't play. So that's a little workaround when you're using Serum FX. You can use it as an insert, but then it needs also a physical MIDI trigger if you want to use those LFOs. which is happening here. And this is just a step group bus, and this is going into a send effect, which is called phased. And when we listen to this sound again here, doing his thing, sorry, this guy, you can hear this vowel-y almost type sound, or like, yeah, it sounds a bit like a vowel filter. And the send effect is where, here we go, it's hidden down here. It is a phaser within SYMMETRY again. So it's just a full-on phaser that moves up over 8 bars, I think. Like if I would mute this, you'd hear the actual sound. It's just, you know, like a noise. But this guy gives it the tonality. And those guys are routed back with the original sound in should be a group called Steps and Sends. Here we go. This is everything played together, where it gets limited again. And, you know, there's a little bit like a end of 4 or end of 8 bar pitch effect here, I think. Yeah, you can see. So this group here is what we had before, the sub, the main sound, like the main sine sound. Then those 3 layers, which have this send effect, put back together into one bus where they're limited, and then they get this master effect. It's like a plate and a pitch shifter movement to create this end bit. So yeah, that would be the middle section of the riff. And so let's have a quick look at the end section, which we had here is a Reese. Very, I want to say old school, which is cool. So I made a separate folder for Reese's where I copied myself the original sound over, so I get a reference there. And so I was trying to imagine the sound, and it sounds like 2 oscillators being detuned, but also like a really slow phasing effect. So in the first step of doing this, replicating this Reese, I wanted to, get the main sound right, which is this guy, which then got a low layer as well. Give it some more low end. And the slow filter, which I really liked in the original, it's like you can tell it's a very slow detune that makes it phase a little bit. I just bounced those 2 guys into audio, and then did this trick in Cubase where you can say this is a pitch shifter, where you can say, okay, over this sample length, I want the start of the sample being still pitch 0, and then the end it's like minus. I think I did like minus 3 semitones, I reckon. Minus 3 cents, and that way it's almost the same like the original, but slightly out of phase, and that's why it gets this really cool old school phase effect. Which then let's compare this by itself, and now with the phase. So you can hear at the end of the thing, it starts getting out of phase and phasing like an old school sample, and so this is the replica. And this is the OG. So yeah, with the idea in mind to preserve the original attitude of the song, but trying to make every sound more like yourself, and just beefing it a little bit here and there. And this is just, you know, the way I approach a remix, and then that thinking is applied on every kind of step of the way of the remix. And the rest is just arrangement stuff. I could go into more detail, but it's very much straightforward. I think with this song, the bass riff in the middle, like the rhythmical section, and the end Reese are the most interesting things about this remix I did. Another thing worth mentioning is that I used samplers a bit more in this remix, which I haven't done in a while. Like in the second drop, there's a Reese variation, which is again, it's the Reese from before, but I just literally just put it into a sampler and see if I find a cool moment or a cool frequency or a little mini loop that is interesting, and that's what I did there. And the rest is just tiny variations of what we looked at before anyways. I think this is it. Let me just have a quick look. If I forgot anything, no, we covered this. It's just effects, really original sounds here. The vocal bit we talked about. No, that's it. So yeah, maybe this gives you a bit of an insight on how I approach remixes rather than the necessarily all the sound design stuff, which I think we covered though as well. Yeah, go check it out. Original is called Break Another Life. This is the Mefjus remix. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop a line in the comment section, and I'll try to answer as many questions as possible. Big up Break for providing a cool original and having me remix it. Big up SYMMETRY, it's his label. Remix is out now. Go check it out, stream it, play it, and yeah, I see you guys around. Peace!